All right, there's the next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions. We're continuing our Monday Night Wars review series. This is going to be round 20, January 15th, 1996. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. Let's get into it. This is the go home episode for WWF. At this point, the Royal Rumble is this following week, whereas WCW Nitro is starting to beef up the talking about the Clash of the Champions. Plus, they're also doing an ad for Super Brawl during this, getting ready for that mega card. So let's just kick it right off. Let's start off with Nitro like we always do. Opening match of the night. Gee, like we haven't now seen this 100 times, and it's getting pretty redundant. Once again, it's the Macho Man Randy Savage against Lex Luger. Now they did announce that win, lose, or draw, Randy Savage is the number one contender next week against whomever was going to win the WCW title match later on. Another match that we've seen repeatedly.
I don't understand how that works. They should have made this a number one contenders match.
Thank you. Because even Luger had mentioned that. And, of course, Crybaby later on needs his diaper changed because he mentioned it.
And lose or draw, you still get touched because
exactly. So, once again, another Luger Savage match. It's just it's starting to really run its course at this point. You know, it seems to be coming out week after week after week. So, and this match ended like pretty much the others. Luger kind of owns Savage at this point. He did come down with Jimmy Hart. Naturally, he does own his contract. Associate or actual member of the Dungeon of Doom.
No, he was a made guy. Apparently, he was a made guy.
He's a made guy. Yeah.
Though he doesn't really. My problem was that you don't really see him with the Dungeon.
No, you never do.
Yeah.
Only in Sting scenarios,
right?
And like tonight, and then with facing Randy Savage. But never is he in a match with Kevin Sullivan. Is he associated with the Dungeon? He didn't come down and when the Dungeon came out later.
That's what I'm saying. Like when they come down and cut promos and stuff, he's not really with them.
He is, but he isn't.
Right. Yeah.
If that makes sense. Actually, let me rephrase that. Jimmy Hart did not come down with Lex Luger at this point because later on they announced that Jimmy Hart would be in Ric Flair's corner for his match. So Lex Luger went at it on his own. Heenan had announced that Jimmy Hart would be down there with Flair later on. Bell rings. Luger threw a chair to Savage, kind of to distract him, and then attacked him right off the bat. Smart move on Lex Luger's part. Fans during this match were chanting Luger. That got me going. I'm like, oh, I think Savage is in the same boat as Hogan now, because the fans are really getting behind Lex. What I really enjoyed is, did you see the height that Randy Savage got on that elbow drop? I felt like it reminded me of recent times of watching Montez Ford do that frog splash off the top rope, how elevated he can get. Of course, Mongo was like, he almost hit the roof. He really got up there. I'd never seen him jump that high before. Unfortunately, he misses it. Luger puts him in the torture rack, and he beats Randy Savage by submission. So to you and I, Luger should be the number one contender. Yeah. But with a loss, Savage is getting.
I don't know why they would do that. It doesn't make any sense. If Randy's going for the title, why would they have him job out? It doesn't make sense.
I don't know. You're right. It doesn't make any sense other than to intensify the story with Sting and Diaper Boy, because he's doing nothing but crying at this point. My God, please join the NWO so we can respect you again at this point. I mean, he's really getting like bad to the point where if I'm Savage, man, just smack him. It's getting this is crybaby Hogan. That's all it is, unfortunately. Let's jump over to Monday Night Raw's opening match. It was Marty Jannetty versus Owen Hart. It was an all right match. It was nothing spectacular, but it wasn't a little bit enjoyable. High flyers of Jannetty and Owen going at it was kind of nice. Lawler and Vince saying that one of these guys could win the Royal Rumble. I almost spit my drink out. I'm like, yeah, okay. And of course, Lawler talking about how
Owen it wasn't far fetched for Owen to win the Rumble. At this point,
it was.
Well, yeah, I guess 90. Yeah, I understand. If it was 95, it was 95 was a different story. 90. Yeah. Yeah, if it wouldn't, yeah, I know what you're saying. That's true.
But by now, he's kind of like fallen back into the shuffle a little bit. He's only relative with the whole Shawn Michaels storyline with the injury. So at this point, yeah, he's kind of lost a little
Yeah.
bit, but he'll get it back. Um, and of course, Lawler mentioning that all the Kings can possibly win the Royal Rumble. King Mabel, Jerry the King Lawler. Oh my God, if that ever happened. Owen with a step over bridge got Marty Jannetty down for the 1-2-3, and Owen Hart is the victor over Marty Jannetty. So pretty good opening match for both.
Hmm.
So let's jump back over to Nitro. This is where it got better. It was supposed to be Kevin Sullivan and Hugh Morris versus Arn Anderson and Brian Pillman. That match did not happen. As the Dungeon of Doom came down, they grabbed Mean Gene. I like this. This is Kevin Sullivan's weekly moment. And the whole dungeon came down, one man gang. Zodiac is out there somewhere. Giant.
Where's Lex?
Hugh Morris. Yeah, exactly. Where's Lex? And of course, here comes the Horsemen. Pretty much, they made a treaty, and I love when Arn Anderson not only reprimanded Pillman for not dressing business, but he smacked the hell out of him.
Yeah,
because Pillman's going off the chain.
He's going, yeah, you can't control him.
No, he can't, and I like it. And so Arn made it clear that we protect the champion at all costs. That is our job. You know, we've got a common enemy. You know,
because this guy was
pretty much they buried the hatchet.
Yeah, because this guy was trying to tell him. Sullivan was trying to tell him, like, okay, the problem is with Pillman.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what the problem is. You know,
keep your dog on a leash.
Yeah.
But
you saw the look. You saw the look that Pillman gave him though after he slapped him, and even Benoit kind of gave Anderson a look.
Like, I think maybe that was a little too much contact. Like, you weren't supposed to do
especially
it
in front of everybody. Especially in front of everybody.
It's an embarrassing moment. I'll give it that. But how the storyline's going between the Horsemen and the Dungeon is getting pretty good. They'll bury the hatchet for now, but we know what's coming. So let's go over to Monday Night Raw's the next thing. Todd Pettengill announcing that before the Rumble this year, there would be the inauguration of the Free for All, which I actually loved when
it was fun
when I'd get the pay-per-views. You know, they'd have some matches on there and whatnot, kind of like what they do now with the premium live events, not pay-per-views, where they do the kickoff show. And of course, this year's Free for All would have a match. Two guys would draw blank numbers, and they would face each other on the Free for All. The winner would get the number 30 slot, and the loser the number 1 slot. We know that was Duke Dumpster Josie and Hunter Hearst Helmsley. So that was pretty good. Plus, they had comments from Diesel in regards to the Rumble, and of course, you know, in regards to Shawn Michaels as well. And then, of course, another video package for Vader. And I love that when Diesel finally mentions Vader, he goes, you know, everybody's talking about it's Vader time. And I'm like, oh, please book this match. I'm like, book it. Come on, I want to see it. We didn't get to see it. So, and then, of course, Doc Hendricks announced that Razor is on his way to confront Goldust because this whole thing has just gotten totally out of control with Goldust and the Heart. And oh my God. Oh man, the ending of Monday Night Raw was very, very interesting. Let's go back over to Monday Nitro, where they apparently, you know, of course, Bischoff. Oh, we have an impromptu tag team match. Yeah, you had it all along. Whatever, it doesn't matter. The American Males versus debut of the Public Enemy, Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge. Two guys very underutilized, mainly because they were from ECW and both companies. I mean, WCW used them a little bit more, but in WWE, man, they were just outcasts.
No, they had problems over there.
They had a lot of problems, unfortunately, but they were a very good tag team. And this match was pretty good. Both teams held their own. Of course, they mentioned that the American Males are former tag team champions.
For 2 seconds, but
yeah, exactly. But hey, as long as your name goes down in the record book. So the referee, distracted by Scotty Riggs at one point, allowed Johnny Grudge to roll up Bagwell with a handful of tights, and that's how the Public Enemy get the pin over the American Males. Now, the interesting part was what came after the match. The attack still ensued. They went and got 2 tables, stacking them high, putting Bagwell on the top of the table. Yep. And Rocco Rock with a swanton on Bagwell was beautiful.
It's a shitty swanton. It was a shitty swanton.
It was. It got the job done. It's 1996 hardcore. It's not, a couple of years from now
Well, it's
where we're
also
going to get
not Jeff
totally
Hardy.
extreme.
It's also not Jeff Hardy.
Exactly. Only Jeff can pull it off perfectly. But and of course Bischoff's like, get these guys out of here.
It was a big deal. This was a big deal for back then because you didn't see that.
We saw it in the first inaugural few episodes of Nitro when Sabu was there, but that's come and gone. And now the Public Enemy are going to be there. And the Public Enemy do stick around for a while and have some good feuds going. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do over the next couple of weeks. So jumping back over to Monday Night Raw, let's go to our boy because the next match on the card is Matt Hardy. No, that's not our boy. Versus the Ringmaster Steve Austin in his debut Monday Night Raw match.
Came out to $1 Million Man theme, right?
Yep. But he did use a WCW finishing move. He did he used the stun gun. Unfortunately, the $1 Million Dream. Yeah. But the stunner is coming. We just got to hold on a little bit longer. I'm still even. I mean, back then, we didn't know at this point what was coming. But looking at it now, I'm like, man, I can't wait for a few more months. Before that goatee comes in, King of the Ring rolls around, and then
shaves,
the real Steve
shaves
Austin.
His head.
Shaves his head. Gets rid of the $1 Million belt. Loses that match with DiBiase's got to go bye bye. I mean, I'm counting down the days because Austin to me was the reason why I tuned into Monday Night Raw every night, pretty much starting around June of '96. As soon as Austin 316 came around, huge fan. But unfortunately, and not to take anything away, I guess Matt Hardy right now is declared a jobber. Yeah. However, he did hold himself pretty well against Austin during this match. Just weird seeing Matt with the short hair and whatnot. And then I'm thinking, okay, in 2001, Austin's going to throw you, your brother, and your girlfriend a beating in the two-man power. You guys, good things are coming from that, just not against Austin. And then, of course, let's just stick around. They showed the video package for Shawn Michaels. My God. Enough is
they're
enough.
Playing, and they're playing "Tell Me a Lie," but not like just the musical portion of it. But I could still hear it.
Oh yes, you can.
I'm like, oh Jesus Christ!
Exactly.
Christ.
Thank God it's over now because with the Rumble 6 days away from this, we won't hear it anymore. Surprised you didn't come out to that at the Rumble.
I know, seriously. It's like, oh God, give it a break.
And then, of course, Doc Hendricks announcing a Razor update that he's just a few miles away.
He's on his way. He's on his way.
Yeah, he's probably outside the whole time in the snow. Are you kidding me? So let's jump back over to WCW. The next match on their card was for the WCW title, not the main event tonight. It was Ric Flair defending the title against Sting. I haven't seen this one before. That's where I'm saying it's becoming a little redundant.
The middle of the card.
Well, look who had the main event.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan against any member of the Dungeon of Doom, which they announced during this that it would be Ming. And he was missing in that Dungeon of Doom conversation too. Now Jimmy Hart did come out in Ric Flair's corner during this match. He got on the apron trying to cause a distraction. Then, of course, here comes Luger during the match. Here we go with this nonsense again. Luger comes down. All of a sudden, he's grabbing Jimmy Hart, and they're getting closer to the corner. And as Sting goes for the Stinger Splash, all of a sudden, oops. Did Luger just hit Sting with the megaphone? And Ric Flair puts the figure 4 on, and Sting is counted.
He's my friend. Remember before that, he's telling Jimmy, "He's my friend. He's my friend."
Oh my God, this has got to come to an end. I mean, it's just at this point, you let it linger past Starrcade. They looked like they buried the hatchet when they were going to set up their tag team, and now we get this again. So, and then of course, after the match, Mean Gene came in because. After the match, Hogan and Savage came into the ring to help Sting. Hogan actually showed up for somebody. They got interviewed. They told Sting Luger cost him the match. Sting was like, "You what? What happened?"
What?
He did. I gotta hear it from his mouth. Oh my God! Somebody rolling back the tape on the video. What are we doing?
It was a little. I mean, you still don't know if it was on purpose, though.
No, they made it look like it could have been an accident, like Jimmy Hart kind of did it, but we all know. Now, this is where this interview gets interesting because now Hogan, as the Sting leaves, is pissed off at Randy Savage.
Because Macho Man has a title shot.
Exactly. And
That belt has my name on it, brother. And you
and
lost. Luger has your number.
he's like, because Hogan's pissed at him because he's got no title shot, and Hogan says he's got a better chance of winning the title. If I'm Savage at this point, I'm like, dude, you want to go at it tonight? And let's have it out, because at this point Hogan's pretty much telling him, you're no good, you're a bum.
I don't understand why Savage doesn't slap the taste out of his mouth. Like I don't
Thank
understand
you.
what he has on it, because he was quick to slap Sting. Now, granted, I guess he's not as close friends with Sting, but him and Hogan had their history anyway too.
He'll keep mentioning to Hogan, we've been to
Yeah,
hell and
yeah.
back 12 times. We'll make it number 13.
At what
and let's
point? At
go.
what point is Macho Man just gonna have enough of his nonsense?
And do for your career and not his.
Hogan doesn't care. Hogan doesn't. It's just
Hogan would step on his own kids for a title shot. I mean, seriously.
That has my name on it, brother. Dude, you lost, man. Get over it.
Exactly. How many more times you go?
But not only that,
over the next few years. Come on.
But not only that, Macho Man already said, as long as I have the title, I'll give you a title shot. It's just that he lost it, but he should be rooting for Macho Man to get the belt, so then Macho Man will give him the title shot, get the belt back.
Next week on Nitro, Flair will defend the title against Macho Man Randy Savage.
And Hogan already had a title shot
2 weeks ago.
Flair, yeah,
and he won by disqualification.
So
what's he crying about? He got his title shot. He did not win.
He didn't win.
He won.
Technically,
yeah. Did not get the belt. Yeah. Wham. Finish your feud with the Giant. Move on, you damn baby. Man, I'm going to enjoy that time that he's away until he shows up in the summertime. Because right now, this is crybaby Hogan. This is not good for him. Now, meanwhile, we go back to Monday Night Raw. They happen to just, in progress, you got the Smoking Guns facing the Spiders.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we don't even get an intro for this. We just get the
match is already going on.
Progress.
It's already going on.
And it didn't even last that long because the Guns did their side suplex leg drop move, and the Smoking Guns win the match. And it was announced that at the Royal Rumble they will face the Body Dinos in the tag team title match. Meanwhile, the whole time on Monday Night Raw, Sonny's going off about everything being Raw. I love that. Oh man, back then I loved it. So then, following the match, they had Billionaire Ted's Wrestling War Room. Why can't I buy some of the superstars? Yeah, we'll call you the boy toy, Hulkster. How about that? Loved it. I loved WrestleMania's Free For All where they had the match. They're coming out with the walkers. Loved it. I loved it. That was funny. Can't blame a guy for trying to make a buck. Plus, they had Vince McMahon interviewing Goldust. It was fun to see this because Vince had that scowl on his face, almost like Attitude Era Vince was there for a minute when Goldust was being the way he was. So that was a pretty good interview as Goldust is preparing 6 days from that point to face Razor Ramon for the Intercontinental Championship. And then, of course, Doc had announced that Razor had arrived, and Razor, walked in heading for the locker room at this point. So it's going to be interesting to see what transpires from there. So let's go over and finish up Monday Nitro with their main event. It was Hulk Hogan versus Ming. Yeah. Now, as Sullivan and Ming came to the ring, they beat up a photographer. That was weird. Sullivan got involved by attacking Hogan on the outside. Of course, that's what the Taskmaster is going to do. Ming used the spike on Hogan but couldn't get the pin. Shocking. Because Hogan got up. Sullivan on the apron. Now, Savage came down to help Hogan. Again, why is Savage coming down? Hogan never does it for him.
I don't know.
I was actually surprised Hogan came down to help Sting, to be honest. But, Sullivan kicks Savage. Hogan took the spike from Sullivan, hits Ming with it, puts it in Ming's tights. Hogan gets the victory. Hogan is the victor over Ming. So, congratulations. You won the same way Savage did prior when he did that.
Macho Man showed him he's his friend. Yeah, proved his loyalty. He's got the clash coming up. Macho Man's got the clash coming up, right? So.
Yep, where they're going to team up together and face Ric Flair and the Giant. Yeah, that's going to be a good match. So now let's go over to Monday Night Raw's main event, which was pretty good. I liked it because I just pictured in my head 1998 because it was The Undertaker versus Isaac Yankem DDS.
Kane versus The Undertaker.
Yeah, That's what I'm saying. 1998. I was picturing it in my mind. I'm like, okay, not dentist. This is Kane.
It's Kane. Yeah.
But I mean, even with it being Isaac Yankem versus the Undertaker, it was still a pretty good match.
This is the character sucks, but
exactly. Yeah. But Jacobs is he knows how to wrestle.
Yeah.
So, and of course, during the match, Jerry Lawler wants to get involved, trying to get the chain/urn away from Paul Bearer. That doesn't work because Undertaker starts heading his way, and Lawler just got the hell out of Dodge. Thank God. Now, during the match, Doc had announced that after the match, Goldust will talk to him about his upcoming match next week, where Goldust in the main event on Monday Night Raw, would be facing Bret Hart. And they said, would it be champion versus champion in a non-title match, or will neither one of these guys have the belt? That's actually going to be an interesting match to watch. Taker eventually was able to get to the. Now they started to show it, and this is when Yankem had him up for the tombstone, but then Taker reversed it, and then the camera goes off of him, and so they don't really show you the reversal. But then Taker eventually puts him into the tombstone and gets the 1, 2, 3. So Undertaker's got the momentum going into the Royal Rumble. It's a shame Bret Hart wasn't on this show, either doing commentary during this match or being interviewed, because there's a big title match coming up at the Rumble. I would want my guys on the last episode to pump it up as much as I could.
Definitely. Yeah, Bret should have been there ringside. Yeah.
Yes, should be doing commentary. And
there was no heat. There was no heat between them.
No, it was a complete babyface match.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
they should have built that up. I don't understand why they didn't build it up.
They just announced it, and that was it.
That was it. Yeah.
No tag team matches together, no run-ins, no interviews, squaring off against each other. It's just, okay, you guys can see each other on this date. Goodbye.
Right. They built up Bret versus Diesel, so I mean, somewhat at least. They also had a history too, somewhat of a history.
But, well, the second time around, remember SummerSlam '97, Bret and Taker got built up way better than this did. But with everything going on.
Yeah, but I'm saying we're talking about this. Like I'm referring to like last year.
This was big.
Yeah.
This was the first time on pay-per-view they're going to face each other. I mean, they should have just thrown it down everybody's throat week after week. Pushing match, tag team match, can't get along. You know, I came down to help you, but I accidentally hit you type thing that we've seen it before. Bret doing the commentary during this match because he's had heat with Lawler and Yankem. No Bret on this night. That's all right. To close out the show, now Doc Hendricks is interviewing Goldust, which we already know what's going to happen at this point. Yeah, of
course. They kept mentioning Razor's on his way. Razor's on his way.
And boy, did he give him a beating of his life until the infamous low blow where everybody just shut up, the silence. You could hear Jarrett's rat piss on cotton at that point. But it didn't stop there, because as Goldust was leaving, Razor got him outside in the snow, beating the holy hell out of him. Goldust finally gets in his car as Razor's chucking garbage cans at his car. I mean, they built this up to be great. Why couldn't they do that with Bret and Taker?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know. But this was built up to where once the Rumble came around, you really wanted to see these two go at it and Razor kill him. So that's both of these shows. Now, the ratings system, it was a blowout. Nitro scored a 3.5 on this night to Monday Night Raw's 2.4.
Wow.
So on the actual rating, it's Nitro 9, Raw 7, and a no decision on 2 of them. So let's get your input on who you think won tonight.
So I'm going to say this. On paper, Nitro had the better show. But I'm going to go with Raw. I'm going to go with Raw this night.
But I was going to be the only one.
Because I really, really enjoyed the Razor Goldust stuff. And I really liked the opening match between Marty and Owen. So that, and Undertaker versus Isaac Yankem is still a good match, regardless if the character's shitty or not. It was still a good match. So I'm going to go. And I felt like Hogan. I felt like, all right, Sting Flair again. And then the ending was stupid. Again. Yeah, and like we saw that already. And then who gives a shit about Hogan versus Ming? Nobody cares about versus Ming.
No, not really.
You know,
we've seen it all. We've seen it before. Yeah. We know what the outcome is going to be at this point. Hogan's not going to get upset because, God forbid, Hogan loses a match.
Yeah. So
yeah. Well, then that would be 13-5 in favor of Nitro on me, 14-4 in favor of Nitro on you. Hey, Monday Night Raw's catching up.
Raw's coming back. Raw's coming back.
They had a pretty impressive card considering the tag team match was a debacle. Otherwise, a pretty solid start to finish, and it wasn't something like you just said where it was fed weeks after week after week after
Mhm.
week where we've seen this. Because Ric Flair and Sting, how many times have we seen this since Monday Nitro has
Right, and
started?
the ending was
Four or
stupid.
five
The
times.
ending was dumb with Luger.
Exactly.
I didn't care for it.
Agreed.
Review.
Next week we might be saying the same thing, but we'll have to review it and watch it and see what happens.
All right. All right. Well, that's a review. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care.